So many of you are asking questions about when should I eat, when should I fast, where does autophagy fit into weight loss specifically? So I want to cover three key things here. I want to talk, one is about how do we use fasting to stimulate autophagy and how that affects weight loss. The second thing is I want to talk about your eating window. Where do you put your eating window so that you can maximize both autophagy and weight loss? And then the third I want to talk about is really apoptosis and where that fits in to your weight loss journey. So if you haven't heard me talk about apoptosis before, this is really critical.
Dr. Mindy Pelz is a world-renowned women's health expert, best-selling author, and lifestyle advocate. Dr. Pelz is the author of the best-selling books Fast Like a Girl and The Menopause Reset. She hosts the Resetter podcast, ranked within Apple's top 20 U.S. science podcasts. Disclaimer: the information provided in this video is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Do not disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have read or seen in this video. Many people struggle with weight loss, often feeling overwhelmed by all the conflicting information out there. Dr. Mindy Pelz has found a way to simplify the process by using 3 science-backed habits that can help the fat fall off naturally. These habits are grounded in solid scientific principles that bring effective, lasting results. In this video, Dr. Pelz will guide you through these habits so you can start transforming your health today. Habit 1. Strategic exercise. Dr. Mindy Pelz emphasizes that a well-planned exercise routine is crucial for sustainable fat loss.
So there's so many reasons why I want you to exercise, but on this video, I really want to talk about weight loss and exercise because I want to make sure those of you that are really working hard to really drop some weight, I want to make sure you're doing it in a smart way, not in the old-fashioned way where we used to be like more restriction and more discipline. You don't have to do that anymore. You actually can lean into science and look at what science has taught us when it comes to weight loss and exercise. And if you pair what I'm about to say with a fasting lifestyle, you've got yourself some gold, some weight loss gold.
The first exercise she recommends is high-intensity interval training. Dr. Pelz advocates for high-intensity interval training as an effective fat-burning tool.
Science says is that the best way to lose weight is through high-intensity training. So you can dive into that, to the most current research that I'm looking at. But I've seen this in our Reset Academy. We do a workout every Saturday morning, and I mix up HIIT training with the next workout I'm going to tell you about. But whenever we do, every couple of months, we do something called a fat burner reset, where we just come together as a worldwide community and we practice different principles of fasting and exercise and food to be able to lose weight. And during those weeks, I always do HIIT training.
This approach involves short bursts of intense exercise followed by rest, which boosts metabolism and stimulates the release of growth hormone, a key player in fat loss.
When you are HIIT training, you are bringing your heart rate and your respiration rate up, and then you're giving it a rest. And then you're bringing it back up, and then you're giving it a rest. And what that does is it signals to your body to start to release a hormone called growth hormone. And growth hormone burns fat. And once growth hormone is on the scene, it starts to melt fat away. So if you are getting stuck with weight loss, more of this up and down with your respiration rate and your heart rate. So it could look like a lot of different things.
Dr. Pelz explains that growth hormone helps break down fat and keeps your metabolism elevated for up to 24 hours post-exercise, making high-intensity interval training a powerful method for shedding pounds. She suggests a 3-minute all-out effort, followed by a rest period, then repeating this cycle to maximize fat burning.
The original study that was done, we have a lot more up-to-date study, was done from a Japanese scientist whose last name was Tabata. And some of you may know the Tabata training. But in Tabata training, what he did is he did 30 seconds on like all-out exercise, as hard as you can go, and 90 seconds off, where you're just resting. And he saw that when people did that style of exercise, that they didn't just burn calories in the moment, but they fired up their metabolism because they released growth hormone, and that metabolism stayed fired up for at least 24 hours afterwards. That was the original study. Now there's some new science that's saying that actually the best way to do HIIT training is to go all in for 3 minutes, like as much as you can get that extreme workout for 3 minutes, that is even accentuating fat burning even more. And I would say we're seeing this in my academy. I'm experiencing this in my own workouts, that if I can push myself for 3 minutes cardiovascularly, getting myself to about 80% of VO2 max, which means I'm bent over like sucking in air, that I can start to see the shift in the menopausal belly weight. I can feel the shift just in, I call it paddedness, that happens sometimes as you go through menopause, of just that extra padding you feel on your body. So it's in this hormonal reaction of HIIT training that the magic actually works. So you get to choose your amount. You might decide it's 45 seconds on, 30 seconds off of an exercise. You might try the 3 minutes. The way we do it in my academy is we actually do it where it's like 30 seconds of a jumping jack, and then 30 seconds of a high knee sprint, and then 30 seconds of a burpee. And we have all different levels in there doing it together. And it's when you mix it up in 30-minute chunks, the 3 minutes goes by very quickly.
Supporting Dr. Pelz's recommendations, a study published in the Journal of Human Nutrition and Metabolism demonstrated that high-intensity interval training significantly increased fat oxidation compared to moderate-intensity exercise, particularly by enhancing mitochondrial function in muscles. The study involved participants performing high-intensity intervals for 20 minutes 3 times a week, and the results showed significant fat loss over 12 weeks. This highlights high-intensity interval training capacity to target stubborn fat effectively. Dr. Pelz also stresses the importance of building muscle, especially for individuals over 40, as muscle mass tends to decline with age. She notes that lifting weights not only tones the body, but also enhances insulin sensitivity by increasing insulin receptor sites on muscle cells. This improves the body's ability to use glucose for energy, which aids in managing weight.
You have a whole set of insulin receptor sites that get birthed as you build muscle. And the more insulin receptor sites you have, the more, think of them as little gates that you have for glucose to go into your body to be used for energy. So when we start to see that there's a bigger muscle mass in a person, whether it's a man or a woman, we start to see that they are more insulin sensitive. So there are 2 different ways of coming at weight loss. They both work really well. But the first and the quickest, like if it's Wednesday and you got a hot date on Friday and you're like, not feeling it in my body, I'd like to drop off some pounds, do some HIIT training. That's going to be your quickest way. But if you're a 45-year-old menopausal woman and you're like, oh, menopause has just killed me, I have so much extra weight, I really want to make sure that you don't just go all in on HIIT training and that you are doing some heavy weights. Because the more muscle you have, the more insulin receptors you will have, which over time will make you more insulin sensitive. They are both really important.
By combining weight training with high-intensity interval training, Dr. Pelz shares her personal experience of how this approach has helped her achieve better hormonal balance and maintain a healthy body composition. A study in the Journal of Cell Biology found that weight training increased insulin sensitivity in participants over 12 weeks, leading to significant improvements in body composition. The research demonstrated that increased muscle mass directly correlates with better glucose metabolism, supporting Dr. Pelz's strategy for combining weight and HIIT for effective fat loss. For those looking to implement Dr. Pelz's strategies, a balanced weekly routine could include 3 days of high-intensity interval training, 2 to 3 days of weight training, and 1 rest or active recovery day, such as yoga or walking. This approach not only maximizes fat burning but also prevents overtraining, keeping the body in an optimal state for weight loss. To start incorporating these habits, aim for short, high-intensity interval training sessions initially, gradually increasing the intensity. Combine this with weight training focusing on compound exercises to engage multiple muscle groups. With consistency, these strategic exercises can transform your fitness journey and accelerate fat loss.
So HIIT training, it is your go-to when you hit that point where you're like, nothing's making sense in the weight loss world. I can't move the needle on weight loss. I want you to start to ask yourself, am I HIIT training? Am I doing enough HIIT training? So that would be a huge part of exercise.
Habit 2. Smart fasting. Dr. Mindy Pelz underscores that smart fasting is about more than simply skipping meals. It's about structuring your fasting periods to achieve optimal cellular health and weight management. She explains that extending fasting to at least 17 hours allows the body to initiate deep autophagy, a biological process where damaged cells are broken down and replaced with healthier ones. This not only helps the body shed fat, but also boosts insulin sensitivity, a crucial factor in maintaining metabolic health.
If you've been following me for a while, hopefully you know that when you metabolically switch over into a fat-burning state, you need to hit about 17 hours to stimulate autophagy. Now, this is a really important nuance because a lot of you guys have been asking me this question, is that when we're fasting 13 to 15 hours, we're stimulating ketosis. You may not be stimulating autophagy at 13, 15 hours. You're stimulating ketosis. All ketosis is the indication that your body is now burning fat and making ketones as a byproduct. That's beautiful. So those of you that want to lose weight, that 13 to 15 hours is your first ledge to stimulate ketosis so that you burn fat in that moment. But here, think about this for a moment. That doesn't mean that you are going to kick yourself out of insulin resistance. So the name of the game when we're looking at using fasting as a really cool tool for weight loss is how do we not only burn fat, but how do we stop you from becoming insulin resistant? And that's where we've got to get you into this place of autophagy. So the second thing that we've got to think about is the longer you fast, the deeper the autophagy. And the deeper the autophagy, the more your body gets rid of insulin resistant cells. So that's 17 hours or longer. Now you're in massive cellular repair. 13 to 15 hours, you're just getting energy by burning fat, but you're not in cellular repair as deep. So make sure if you want to lose weight, you're going in longer than 17 hours.
Supporting Dr. Pelz's advice, a study published in the Journal of Scientific Reports demonstrated that fasting for longer durations, such as 20 hours, led to significantly higher levels of autophagy markers when compared to shorter fasting windows of around 12 hours. This evidence aligns with Dr. Pelz's claim that fasting for 17 hours or more is necessary to move beyond merely burning fat through ketosis and delve into the repair of cellular damage. Autophagy activation during extended fasting plays a vital role in reducing inflammation and potentially lowering the risk of chronic diseases linked to cellular dysfunction, such as type 2 diabetes. Dr. Pelz further emphasizes the significance of timing when it comes to eating windows, recommending that meals should be consumed during daylight hours to align with the body's natural circadian rhythms. The body's ability to process glucose efficiently diminishes as melatonin levels rise in the evening, making late-night eating more likely to contribute to insulin resistance.
And so when we look at your eating window, the greatest place to line yourself up with weight loss is only eat in the daylight. So in the summer, this is a little bit easier because you can have dinner a little bit earlier. But as long as you're eating in the dark, you are promoting insulin resistance. So that dinner you have at 9 o'clock at night, when it's dark out, your cells are going to be more insulin resistant to that because melatonin has come in. So if we want to kick you out of insulin resistance so you never have to worry about weight again, we're going to take a fasting lifestyle that starts to put you in longer than 17 hours, and we're going to start to make sure that you are only eating in the daylight.
Research published in the Journal of Nutrients corroborates this, showing that early time-restricted eating leads to lower blood glucose levels and improved insulin sensitivity compared to late-night eating. The study indicated that participants who stopped eating earlier in the day had better metabolic health markers, such as reduced insulin resistance, supporting Dr. Pelz's advice to close the eating window around sunset for maximum health benefits. To further amplify the benefits of fasting, Dr. Pelz advocates for integrating high-intensity interval training during fasting periods.
There are many ways to stimulate autophagy, not just through fasting, like exercise, for example. Did you know that HIIT training is massively important for making sure that you stimulate autophagy and you get out of insulin resistance?
This combination not only accelerates fat loss, but also boosts levels of growth hormone, which enhances the body's ability to break down fat and maintain muscle mass. The Journal of Applied Physiology published findings that back up Dr. Pelz's recommendation, showing that participants who combined fasting with high-intensity interval training experienced a more significant reduction in body fat and an increase in growth hormone levels compared to those who performed either fasting or exercise alone. This synergy between fasting and exercise stimulates autophagy, promotes fat metabolism, and contributes to improved body composition. Dr. Pelz also suggests a practical approach to adopting this smart fasting strategy. She recommends starting with a 17-hour fasting window, ideally ending the fast around noon to benefit from the body's heightened metabolic efficiency during the morning. Following this, a brief, high-intensity interval training workout can be performed to maximize fat-burning potential and support muscle health. The eating window should then be limited to between noon and sunset, which aligns with the body's natural energy cycles and minimizes the risks associated with eating late in the evening. Additionally, this approach may contribute to long-term benefits in weight management and metabolic health. Research published in Journal of Cell Metabolism has shown that intermittent fasting practices, such as time-restricted eating and extended fasting, not only improve insulin sensitivity, but also lower levels of harmful visceral fat. This fat-burning effect is enhanced by strategic exercise and fasting, resulting in greater overall metabolic flexibility and reduced risk factors for conditions such as obesity and type 2 diabetes. By following Dr. Pelz's smart fasting strategy, individuals can effectively optimize their fat loss, enhance cellular repair processes, and better manage blood sugar levels. Implementing these practices into daily life can start with small changes, such as gradually increasing fasting windows, prioritizing morning workouts, and being mindful of meal timing to align with natural circadian rhythms.
Now, what would it look like to put all of these things together? Let me give you a formula. I want to give you a protocol, and this is what it would look like. And I'm going to give you a protocol that's like within a daily, I'll talk about a daily protocol for weight loss, and then I want to talk about a weekly one. And I know I always talk about monthly for women, but I want to give you something very specific that you can take away from this video. So in a daily protocol, you get up in the morning, the sun is rising, you're not eating, you're going to make sure you go at least 17 hours without food in that day so you can stimulate autophagy. In your fasting window, you're going to use something like a Carol bike, which is a HIIT training where you're getting your heart rate up and down, so now you're stimulating autophagy through your workout. That's what we call a double stack. So we have gotten you into a place where you're using fasting to stimulate autophagy, and you're using your workouts together at the same time so that you can kick yourself out of insulin resistance. Now, when you go in and open up your eating window, what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that that eating window stays within the light hours. An example would be maybe you don't eat until noon and you eat from noon until 6 when it's light out, and then once the sun starts to go down, you shut down that eating window. If you do that, you've now gone into not only you're working within your hormonal balance, but you've also got your autophagy stimulated through fasting and through working out. So now we've got like two really cool major cellular principles that are going to put you in this weight loss lifestyle that will have you losing weight even when you start to eat.
Over time, these habits can help transform your health journey by improving cellular health, reducing inflammation, and promoting sustainable weight loss. Habit 3. Target nutrition. Dr. Mindy Pelz explains that fatty fish, such as salmon and sardines, are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which support fat loss by reducing inflammation and regulating hormonal balance, especially estrogen. This regulation is vital because imbalanced estrogen can lead to fat accumulation around the belly.
The first food to lean into is fatty fish. Now, I've been doing more and more on the power of fatty fish, and to me, fatty fish is everything from salmon to anchovies to mackerels. When you're going in, by the way, to do some of the more of the fattier fish, especially like the mackerels and the sardines that have a tendency to accumulate some of the toxins in our ocean, it's really good to get the baby ones because they haven't been in the ocean as long. This is a really great one put out by Patagonia that is actually has a lower level of mercury. So you start reading the ingredients and you'd be interested to see that when you get a baby version of these fatty fish, they tend to have less toxins in them. Same thing with salmon, is you really want to increase your fatty acids that have the most amount of omega-3 fatty acids in it. And if you're going, and I'll explain why here in a second, when you're looking at increasing fatty acids, we need to have that salmon be from the wild, not farm raised. So again, the nuance matters when we're trying to use tools like fatty fish to be able to help with belly fat. Now, couple things that I want to say about omega-3s and fatty fish and why they work so well. So they're high in omega-3s, and there was a really interesting study that I want to quote and I want to quote it accurately because I think it'll help you grasp the importance of adding something in for this belly fat. So this was a 2022 study, and what they did is the researchers split groups into overweight people into two groups. And one group, they fed them the same diet, by the way, but one group got the omega-3 rich fish oil every single day. So they didn't do the fish, but they did fish oil. And they got it every single day for 12 weeks. And what they found was the group that had the added in fish oil had a greater loss of fat specifically around their belly weight. They also noticed improvement in cognitive function for that group. So the reason I want to point this out, because I think this is really interesting, is that you don't necessarily have to have fish every day. You could have fish oil.
Supporting this, a study in the Journal of Nutrition and Metabolism observed significant reductions in visceral fat among participants who took fish oil daily for 12 weeks. The researchers split participants into two groups. Both consumed similar diets, but only one group added omega-3 rich fish oil. This group saw notable belly fat reduction, demonstrating omega-3's role in combating inflammation and regulating estrogen levels for fat loss. Incorporate 2 servings of fatty fish into your weekly diet or supplement with fish oil if fish isn't readily available. Ensure supplements are high quality to maximize omega-3 intake, focusing on brands that test for heavy metals and toxins. Dr. Pelz emphasizes soy's ability to support hormone balance, especially for menopausal women who experience fluctuating estrogen levels. She explains that soy contains phytoestrogens, which mimic the body's natural estrogen and help reduce symptoms like belly fat.
Number 2 is soy. So I'm on a mission to bring soy back because we have all the tools for menopausal women have become more narrow and more narrow. And when we go through perimenopause and menopause, it's really important that we have more food tools to be able to help the ever-changing symptoms that are coming and going. And one of the symptoms of menopause is belly weight. So what's interesting is that when we look at soy, it's a phytoestrogen. So what does that mean? A phytoestrogen means that it acts like an estrogen, it just came from plants. So a couple interesting studies, it's really important, that soy is rich in the phytoestrogen called isoflavonoids. And these will actually mimic your body's natural estrogen, not in a bad way, in a good way, and will bring up your natural estrogen levels. Now remember, when you go through menopause, if your estrogen levels go down, you become more insulin resistant. So the reason that soy as a phytoestrogen works so well is because it can help bring up your estrogen levels so you don't hit that insulin resistant place. But several studies went on to show that by increasing estrogen, you decrease belly fat. By eating more soy isoflavonoids, you increase estrogen. more phytoestrogens reduce menopausal symptoms, and that soy isoflavonoids speed up metabolism. Soy has a multi-pronged approach that can be really beneficial, especially to my perimenopause and menopausal friends.
According to a review in the Journal of Molecular and Cellular Endocrinology, soy's isoflavones can improve glucose and lipid metabolism, lowering insulin resistance and supporting weight loss. The review discusses that consuming whole soy foods like edamame and tofu can be beneficial, while processed soy products, such as soy milk, may not offer the same benefits due to added sugars and reduced nutrient content. Aim for organic sources of soy, such as tofu, tempeh, or edamame. Avoid highly processed soy products, as they can spike glucose levels, diminishing the hormonal benefits.
Now, how should you eat soy? So for me, I love edamame. So you want to make sure it's always organic. So as much edamame as you possibly can eat would be fine. You put a little salt on this sucker, I'm pretty happy. Other forms of soy is tofu. Big fan of tofu because of the high protein amount, which go watch the videos I've done on how protein can speed up weight loss. Tempeh is a great form of soy. Miso is like a miso soup is great for soy. What I'm not a fan of is soy milk, just so we're clear, because soy milk tends to be so highly processed that it spikes your glucose. So that would be the one soy that I typically shy away from.
Dr. Pelz also points out that green leafy vegetables play a crucial role in feeding the gut microbiome, which helps break down estrogen and reduce its storage as belly fat. This function is critical for anyone exposed to estrogen mimickers in the environment.
Green veggies do a couple things. I'm going to share with you what I is like my tried and true, what I love about green vegetables, and then I want to share some science with you that's really interesting. So think of these green vegetables as fuel for the microbes in your gut that break down estrogen. We call this the estrobolome. There are literally bacteria in your gut that break down estrogen, and they need food. And what they want you to feed them is green leafy vegetables. So when you eat more green leafy vegetables from a variety of sources, what you're doing is you're feeding these microbes that will break estrogen down. What's interesting is if you don't break estrogen down, you store estrogen. So this goes for the menstruating woman. This goes for the menopausal woman. This even goes for the man who's got the pot belly and a little bit of the man boobs and has been exposed to a lot of estrogen mimickers in his environment, and the body stored it there. So one of the best doors out of all the storage of estrogen are green leafy vegetables.
A study in the Journal of Nutrition and Metabolism revealed that higher fiber intake from green vegetables significantly decreased body fat over 5 years. The study tracked over 1,100 participants and found that even small, consistent increases in dietary fiber led to meaningful reductions in fat accumulation, particularly around the abdomen.
So one of the things I love about fiber is not only is it feeding this microbes, but it helps to regulate your blood sugar. So just by having a salad with every meal, you're lowering the influx of glucose, which lowers the amount of insulin your pancreas has to make. You're feeding your microbes that are gonna be able to get rid of estrogen. And if you do that repetitively over time, you will see a reduction in belly fat. I think it's a brilliant way to approach something that's very annoying.
Incorporating these targeted foods, as Dr. Mindy Pelz suggests, can significantly support fat loss and hormonal health.
A couple of my favorite types of greens, I like all different kinds, but I love bok choy, I love chard, I love Brussels sprouts, I love dandelion greens. They're great for liver support. I love parsley. I'm trying to think. Mint. I put a lot of mint in my salad. Any green leafy vegetable I can get my hands on. Myself personally, I don't love spinach. It's just me. But if you love spinach, you can keep eating it. I would say something like an iceberg head lettuce isn't going to have as much of that fiber in it, and it's not going to be as nutritious as some of the ones I've mentioned here.
Let's quickly go over the 3 game-changing habits that Dr. Mindy Pelz recommends for effortless fat loss. First, strategic exercise. using techniques like high-intensity interval training and weightlifting to maximize fat burning and maintain muscle mass. Second, smart fasting, which involves extending your fasting window to activate deep autophagy and improving insulin sensitivity by aligning your eating times with your natural circadian rhythm. Lastly, targeted nutrition, incorporating foods like fatty fish, soy, and green leafy vegetables to regulate hormones and support gut health. Each habit plays a unique role in accelerating fat loss while boosting overall health. Remember, you don't have to transform your lifestyle overnight. Dr. Pelz encourages starting small. Pick one habit and gradually build up. Even minor adjustments can yield significant results when you stay consistent. Whether you're just adding an extra serving of greens, extending your fasting window by an hour, or including a high-intensity interval training session each week, every little step will take you closer to your goals. Stick with it, stay positive, and watch how these habits become second nature.